Hello, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Paige, and for today's video, I want to show you everything that I read in December. So I've gotten back into reading recently, especially since I've gone to college. I have a little bit more free time, and so I thought I would take you along with me for the month and show you what I've been up to, how I read, kind of my reading habits, what like a normal month looks like for me, and I thought that'd be fun. So today is actually November 30th, and we are starting off strong with the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. I'm about 25% of the way through, and I'm just sitting down, just cozying up to read for a little bit. I think it's pretty good so far. It's a little hard to get into, a little confusing. There's a lot of characters. But I've been interested in it. Like, I started it probably a week ago, and I've just been super busy. It was Thanksgiving, so I was not really sitting down and taking the time to read. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So it's actually been a while since the first clip that I filmed. It is currently December 8th now, so almost over a full week. And I did finish Evelyn Hardcastle. I finished it maybe on the 5th or the 6th, something like that. Maybe a little bit earlier, the 4th. I stayed up really late to finish it. I think it was last Wednesday, so whatever last Wednesday was. I stayed up really late to finish it. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. I gave it, I think, a 4.5 stars. Like I said, I really loved it. I thought it was really cool, a really awesome concept. The one thing that I wish I would have known going into it was that it's not just like a simple, straight read through. Like, it takes a lot of like mental capacity. It's basically about this mansion, and they're throwing a party. There's like Lord and Lady Hardcastle, and then they have 2 kids, Evelyn Hardcastle being one of them. Every night she's murdered at the party at 11 p.m. and it follows our main character. He is stuck in the bodies of different people at the party or in the household. So he goes through one full day as these different characters, and then the next day he wakes up in a different character's body. And he has 8 characters, 8 days to figure out who murdered Evelyn. He's basically stuck in this loop. He will continue to go through the loop until he discovers who murdered Evelyn, because it looks like suicide. It looks like she just like shoots herself. It's actually a murder. So it's a very interesting story. There's a lot of layers to it, and it's very complex, very complicated, and I wish I would have known that going in. I think I would have read it at maybe a different time or in a different mindset than when I picked it up, but I still thought it was really good. I enjoyed it. I had a great time. It was a good ending, very fun. So if you are looking for a cool like murder mystery type book, this is a good one. So then as soon as I finished that, like the next day, so maybe like the 4th or 5th, whatever, I have been listening to the Harry Potter audiobooks. So I'm currently on the 3rd one. So I started that one on the 4th or the 5th, and I'm almost done with it. I'm like 80% of the way through. So that's been really fun. I've been really enjoying like rereading them, or I guess re-listening to them. I've been listening to them, like I said, on audiobook and then coloring on like my iPad, and I will spend like hours. Like, I got 50% of the way through in 2 days. Like, it's insane. And I've basically been able, with the first 2 books, I finished both of them in like 4 days each. So I've been like flying through them. and it's just so fun. Like, it's so nostalgic to me. And I have not reread the Harry Potter books since I first read them in like 6th, 7th grade, like middle school. So it's been really fun to like go back, revisit. And honestly, I haven't even rewatched a lot of like the later movies. Like, I've watched like 1, 2, and 3 a lot. But like past like probably movie 5, I haven't really watched 5, 6, 7, and then obviously there's the 8th movie. And so like I'm kind of forgetting a lot of even just like the basic plot points. So I thought it would be super fun, just kind of an easy thing to do when I want to like shut off my brain. It's not as involved as a book like this, and so I'm just kind of able to like, you know, revisit that like childhood magic that Harry Potter brought. So that's been really fun. That's what I've been up to. I'm probably gonna finish it today, which means I get to start a new book. I have a couple that I really want to finish before the end of this year. So we'll see what I end up picking up next. But that's my update for today, and I'll see you in a couple days when I decide what my next book is. Okay, hello. It is a few hours later now. It is still the 8th. I did finish Harry Potter, like, immediately after I finished filming that last clip. I only had like an hour left of the audiobook, so I put it on like 1.5 times speed, finished it. And then I thought I had downloaded a book on my Kindle. Turns out I actually got it in audiobook form, so I think I'm gonna read that. I got it from the library. The book that I got is Unravel Me, and it's part of the Shatter Me series. I couldn't remember what it was, so I had to go check. But it is technically the second book. There's like a novella in between the first book and this one. I read the first one and it had the novella in it. I read that like over the summer, like it's been a while. So I want to get back into that, read that, and then I have my next read picked out, so I'm super excited for that one. Alright, I'll see you in a little bit. Good morning, everybody. It is like 10:30 on December 9th, and I think that I want to do a 12-hour readathon. I've never done a readathon before, and I've always wanted to do like a 24-hour long one. I don't think I'm gonna get that done, but I have 2 full days of nothing, so I want to try to do at least 12 hours of reading, because yeah, I have so many books I want to get to. But I'm reading this second Shatter Me book right now. I started that last night. I'm not super far in, but I need to finish that. And then I also really want to read like a December like holiday book. So I found this romance that I really want to read. And then I also recently received Daisy Jones and the Six, which has been on my list for years. Like, seriously, years. So I want to get through those 3 books. I think I can do it, because I'm just like so invested. Like, I just want to know what happens. Like, I just want to get through these books. Like, so yeah, that's the plan. We're gonna start with Unravel Me, so I'm gonna get through that. But I think while I start to listen to that, I'm gonna try and make like a page in my reading journal for this little mini readathon that I'm doing. But yeah, I'm super excited, so we're just gonna jump right in. Hello. It is the next morning. It is December, the 11th? 10th. Did finish, what's it called? Unravel Me. I finished that last night. I did like my journal page for it and everything. It was good. I gave it like a 3.5 stars. I thought it was better than like the original one. Not my favorite book I've ever read. The first one I felt like was rushed at times. Like, I don't want to spoil anything, but I felt like some of the relationships were kind of rushed in like the first book, and then the second book I felt like it was better pacing. It got a little bit repetitive. It was kind of longer than I expected it was going to be. And I did decide what my next read is going to be, which was not on my list. I had 3 books on my list. I don't know if I said this in the first one, but I had Unravel Me, which I read. Yay. And then I had, what's it called? The Holiday Trap. It's like a house swap during the holidays, so like a Christmassy read, because it's almost Christmas. And then I also had Daisy Jones and the Six. So I'm not reading either of those. I'm actually going to be reading Atmosphere, also by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I put it on hold a while ago, and I finally got access to it, and I've just been anticipating it for so long, but like, I want to read Daisy Jones and the Six so bad too, but I think my next read is going to be Atmosphere. Then I'm going to do like the Christmassy ones so that I kind of break up like the historical fiction, break up the Taylor Jenkins Reid, and then I'm going to read Daisy Jones and the Six later over winter break. So yeah, we're gonna read Atmosphere now. I downloaded it onto my Kindle, and that's what we're gonna spend the next few hours doing. Also, I didn't update you. It took me 7 hours to finish Unravel Me. So I have 5 more hours left in the readathon. So 5 hours to read Atmosphere. I don't know if I'm gonna finish it, and I don't know if I'm going to get to a new book, but we'll see how far I get into Atmosphere. Okay, hello. I have finished Atmosphere. It's like 9:30 now. I finished it probably around 8-ish, and then I had to like take a minute to like digest and like figure out what's going on. There was a lot of stuff. It was a very, very good book. Obviously, I binged it. And like I said, it was like for the like readathon, like my mini readathon, but like I would have done it even if it wasn't for the readathon. Like, I probably would have just gotten through it in a day. I thought it was so good. It was so beautifully written. I love Taylor Jenkins Reid and her writing style. So I love the way it was written. I love how it really tackled like some issues. I love when a romance book has like other plots. Like the main aspect of this book was the romance, but it tackled a lot of other real world issues. It wasn't just like, oh, you know, we're just getting together because whatever. There's a lot of issues with it. There's a lot of other problems going on in Joan's life, individually. Similar to Emily Henry's Funny Story, which was a 5-star read. It was it's like the only 5-star I've had in a while. And that was the same thing. It was a romance, but there was a lot of other issues that were dealt with, and I think that that's really, really cool. Back to Atmosphere though. It reminded me of, and this is gonna sound crazy, if you know, you know, if you don't, you don't, but it reminded me of All the Young Nudes. The Marauders, like Harry Potter Marauders fanfiction. For those of you who don't know, it's a fanfiction of Sirius Black and Remus Lupin. Well, mostly. It like kind of follows them all through Hogwarts. It follows the Marauders through Hogwarts, and then it follows like Sirius and Remus and their relationship after Hogwarts. That's what Joan and Vanessa, that's what their relationship reminded me of, was Sirius and Remus, like after post Hogwarts. And I haven't read that book, but like I imagine like Joan's apartment and Remus's apartment to be the same. Okay, I ran out of phone storage. But anyways, I was saying, obviously they are both LGBTQ relationships, and like I said, I imagine their relationships to be very, very similar. Like, I just was getting that vibe when I was reading Atmosphere. So, anyways, if you read All the Young Nudes and you know what I'm talking about, this felt very similar to me, so highly recommend. But in general, I really, really recommend Atmosphere. I'm giving it a 4.5 star. I thought it was really, really good. Obviously, I was hooked. It was just missing something, and I can't put my finger on it. It wasn't a 5-star book. You know, it wasn't that 5-star feeling. And maybe it's because it was space, and that wasn't really something I could relate to. But yeah, to me, it was not a 5-star. But I can totally understand why people had it as a 5-star. I definitely shed a few tears. I laughed a couple times. Like, it was a very, very good book. Highly, highly recommend. And with that, that ends my readathon, and it actually worked out like so perfectly. Like it was exactly hour 7 I finished Unravel Me, and it took me exactly 5 hours to finish Atmosphere, which is kind of crazy that it took me longer to read Unravel Me than it did to read Atmosphere. I would have thought it would be the other way around. I don't know. I mean, I can't see Unravel Me. I never had it in front of me. Never had Atmosphere in front of me either, but I at least read it on my Kindle, so I kind of got an idea. But anyways, I'm yapping too much. Hello. So, it has been quite a while since I last recorded. I was still in my dorm room. I have like gone to Florida and back, and I am back at home. So yeah, I was super busy and I did not really record anything, but it is currently, when I'm filming this, it is January 1st. So I have my complete reading wrap up of December. So I finished 3 more books in the time between when I read Atmosphere and now. So the first one was The Holiday Trap by Roan Parrish. This was just like a cute little holiday romance. It was actually dual perspective, but like not in the way you would think. Like it's not like the girl and the guy like in the relationship and then both of their perspectives. It was like these two people, they like swapped houses. They both had reasons why they wanted to leave their hometown or where they were living. And they swapped houses because they had a mutual friend, and then both of them kind of fell in love in the new towns. So it was really interesting. So we followed like the one character who moved from, it was somewhere up north, like not Maine, I don't know, somewhere up north on the East Coast. She moved from her small little island down to the middle of New Orleans, and then the guy moved from New Orleans up to her small little town. It was LGBTQ. They both met. Like I said, they were both in LGBTQ relationships. So the girl met another girl, the guy met another guy. So, you know, it was interesting. It was pretty average. Honestly, I was kind of disappointed. I gave it a 3 stars. I'd probably give it like a 2.5. Even, like, it wasn't great. Like, I thought at least it would, like, get me in the holiday spirit, and it kind of didn't. Like, the woman who had moved to New Orleans, Greta, she technically came from like a Jewish family, but they only like mentioned that like twice. And like technically it happened around the holidays and there was like one holiday party. But like the other guy, Truman, who moved from New Orleans to the small town, in his point of view, there was like no holiday anything. So, you know, so it didn't really get me in the holiday mood. I think it would have been better if they were 2 separate books and the characters could have been more fleshed out and it was just more deeper, more developed. I did think Truman's point of view happened to be a little bit more realistic, and it was kind of a little more like will they, won't they get together, whereas Greta, she kind of just got with this girl like the first day that she was in New Orleans, and then it was kind of just a weird dynamic of like, oh, should I stay, should I go? Like, it was just kind of weird. And then I read Kiss Her Once for Me by Alison Cochrane, and this was also another holiday romance. I read The Holiday Trap on Kindle, and then Kiss Her Once for Me on audiobook, in case you were wondering. But Kiss Her Once for Me, another LGBTQ romance. We follow Ellie Oliver, and she meets this girl on Christmas Eve the year before, and they like basically fall in love over the course of like 12 hours. So Jack was the girl that she met. She ends up fake marrying Jack's brother because she needs money. Jack's brother, Andrew, needs to get his inheritance from his grandpa. So very weird. Love triangle, love trapezoid, they kept calling it. I thought it was good. I thought it was kind of fun. I thought it was much better than The Holiday Trap, so I rated this one like 4 stars. You felt like it was actually the holidays. It was kind of dual timeline because we saw like Ellie and Jack the year before, and then we saw them like currently at like their current Christmas. So I thought it was fun. The ending was a little like anticlimactic, but overall this one was much better. And then the last book that I read in December was Daisy Jones and the Six. So can you tell that I'm a Taylor Jenkins Reid fan? I got this for a book swap that I did with my book club at school. And I wanted to read it like as soon as I got it, and I did not get to it. I mean, it only took me like 2 weeks to get to it, but I read like 4 or 5 books in between that I was not planning on reading. Like, I was not planning on reading Atmosphere. I was supposed to read Daisy Jones before I read Atmosphere, and then I got my hands on Atmosphere, so this got pushed back. But it was really, really good. I'm really glad that I read it. I wish I would have read it sooner, but it was very, very good. I give it like a 4.5 stars, and I did change my Atmosphere rating to a 5 stars after reading this one, because I don't know, I just felt like because they were written by the same author, I realized that Atmosphere, I just felt more connected than I did with the characters in Daisy Jones. Well, I don't know, it's really hard. I really, really like both of them, and I think my ultimate rating is that this one's a 4.5 stars and Atmosphere is a 5 star. So do with that what you will. I recommend both of them very, very highly, though, and I can totally see why people would rate them 5 stars, 4.5, whatever. But yeah, so this one, for those of you who don't know, it follows Daisy, so Daisy Jones. It starts when she's like a young teenager, 15, 16. She's growing up in LA. She wants to become a rock and roll musician. She like releases an album. And then we also follow the Six, who is a band that started in Pennsylvania, I think it was. They started in Pennsylvania, and then they come to LA so that they can like blow up more. And then they end up having the same producer, so they get put together, and it mainly follows Daisy and Billy Dunn, who's the lead singer of the Six, and kind of like their relationship. They're kind of back and forth. Billy has a wife, he has kids, but it's more than just like a romance book. It's like there's just so much in it. Like, that's why I love Taylor Jenkins Reid book. There's just so much going on. There's so many like plots. It's very like character driven, and you get to hear from all of the different characters of the Six. You're not just hearing from Daisy or just from Billy. Like, it's told through like, I don't know if you can see, but it's like transcripts, which I didn't know going in, but I think is really, really cool. And then the show is also told in like documentary style, with like the interviews with them like now, and then like a flashback to them then, which is kind of how this is told. Like, it's them in the future reflecting on what happened in the past. So you see a lot about like the different relationships, the different dynamics, but then there's a lot of tackling of like, there was a lot of drugs going on. It takes place in the 60s. There's a lot of drugs going on in the like music scene. Drugs, partying, sex, all of that. It tackles all of that, and like that addiction that like, Billy ended up having. Billy and Daisy both had very severe addictions at different points throughout the book, and so it kind of tackles that. So it was really, really deep. I felt very connected to the characters. I could like totally picture everything that was going on. I thought it was super, super cool. It felt so realistic. So yeah. But yeah, that's everything I read in December. I think that's a total of like 6 books that I read this month, which is pretty good for me. I'm just having fun with it. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that hopefully this inspired you to go read some of them. Again, highly recommend Daisy Jones and Atmosphere. I would read both of them if you can, if you are interested. Even if you're not interested in like historical fiction, typically, like it's so good. It's so good. So anyways, I will get off my soapbox. And I hope you guys had a wonderful holiday season and a wonderful new year, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.